Welcome to today's reflection. My name is Tabby Kimani, and we are happy, excited to have you the second week of February. And the second week of February is famously known for something that I know each one of us is looking forward to in the next 3 days. And one of the words that will appear a lot in the social media, in our local televisions, in people's mouths, people asking each other, what are you planning to do, is on Valentine's Day. Yay! So Valentine's is coming soon. I don't know what you're planning to do. I won't tell you what I'm planning to do, but you can share if you want to. But you're welcome. And today, as we reflect and look forward to Valentine's Day, we just want to talk about something that is mostly associated with that particular day, and that is love, relationships. And so about that, we'll be talking about toxic relationships. Now, I know Valentine's is mostly known for people to go out, take hikes, have a good dinner, do all the kind of things that you want to do on Valentine's Day, ensure that the other person knows that you love them, or if it's just a friend or a family, call them, write them a message, and tell them, you know what, I really appreciate you for being in my life and what you do. But we can't just assume that there are things that happen that we know have made relationships be quite difficult just to think about it. And that's what we are talking about, toxic relationships. And to help us understand that, we have one of our very own, Pastor Apollo, and I'll give him a chance to introduce himself.
Hi everyone.
Hello.
It's good to have you, and we hope that this discussion will be helpful and constructive to the glory of God and to your own joy. Thank you, Tabby, for having me today.
You're welcome, and thank you also for accepting this invite. And we believe that this is one of the things that we know our viewers are looking forward to get to know. So you're talking about toxic relationships, and I know many people may have just said, I'm in a toxic relationship, or there is that, or they have had. But maybe you could just help us understand, what does it look like to be in a toxic relationship?
Now, ideally, a relationship should be a place of happiness, a place of safety, a place of refuge, a place of comfort. And when you're in a relationship that does not offer those things, then we can easily say it is a toxic relationship. Although from where I'm seated, I prefer to call it unhealthy relationship. And so if it is not giving you happiness, if it is not a place of safety, if it is not a place of refuge, if it is not a place of comfort, then that should raise some concerns. Yes.
Thanks for giving that word, unhealthy relationships. And probably we would want to understand, what is it that makes us or brings about toxicity or unhealthiness in a relationship? What is it, or some of those signs or characteristics that can make us feel, indeed, I'm not in a healthy relationship?
I think I can mention 3 things. Now, the first thing is it's the usual approach of many people towards relationships. Because they focus on the other person rather than themselves. And if you talk to many people who are in love or who are looking for love, as it were, they talk about, this is the kind of a person I want to have. You know, the ladies will talk about tall, dark, and handsome. I hear there are many other things that many people talk about. The young men will have a long list of characteristics of ladies they want to date and perhaps marry eventually. And somebody said, for you to get the right person, you need to be the right person. So that means you shift the focus from what you want from the other person to who you are. So am I the right person to the person I want? Because over the other side, the person you want to date has also a list of expectation on the person they want to date.
Yeah.
So the problem, I think, in my opinion, is when we don't focus on ourselves and see, discover ourselves, see the areas of our shortcomings and work on them, so that whoever comes will find a good person, a prepared person.
Yeah.
But the problem is we only focus on the people we want in our lives and at our own expense. Number two, I think, is a desire to control. I think this is a big problem. And this sometimes we say it is men who control, but I would like to say even in this discussion, it's about the two gender. And I think one may be dominant, but the truth is not one gender over the other, but I think both genders are responsible for this.
Yeah.
That desire to control people, you want to be, to have your way. It's a very selfish way of life, and of course, that's the way humanity is. People want to be served as opposed to serve. When you go, somebody also said that I really liked it. When you go to a place where people are queuing, you never get a straight line. It's always zigzag because you are coming and wondering, now, where did these people come from? Now you are going to the bank and you expect everyone else to have waited at home for you to come. It's a human, selfish reality. And I think when it is now brought into the relationship, it opens doors for manipulation and control. And finally, I would say is disrespect. Disrespect. When you don't respect a person, you can easily manipulate them, you can easily control them, you can easily ill-treat them. But when you treat people with respect and honor and dignity, there are things you can't say to them, there are things you can't do to them because of that respect. But when people become disrespectful, then it opens doors for many ills of relationships.
Yeah.
Good.
That's a very nice way of looking at it, and especially to the first point of being ready to be the right person for the right person you want to have. Because I think that's so true. Most of us just tend to think, I want this, I want that, but you're not ready. You're not that even yourself at first. And thanks also mentioning for those three things, and talking about respect, something that I think most of us need to know about that and actually practice it. And then just with this person who is in an unhealthy relationship, now they cannot find those three things, that we have mentioned. They are not there. It's quite unhealthy. There is disrespect. There is a lot of manipulation. There is a lot of things that they feel this relationship is really straining me. How can they communicate that to the other person?
Well, that's a tall order, Tabby, to be honest with you. Because the victims of these things are always defensive. Very defensive.
True.
And they don't take rebuke lightly. And so it becomes very hard. And sometimes it becomes even chaotic. And I would say, for the sake of answering your question, I think one party can find a suitable and wise way of communicating the same to their partners. And if that doesn't come through, they can engage the next gear. And that's what we do in relationships. It's one step to another. You engage the first gear. If it doesn't work, you go to the next gear, go to the next one until now you get a solution or otherwise. Now you can find perhaps a very close friend, which is also very dangerous because some people don't want you to talk to others about them. So perhaps you can use a close friend to talk to them. And now that is also very risky, very risky. And as Christians, we also pray. And because we are doing this in a context of the church, we believe in prayer. Praying for someone that God would change them. Some people think it is escapist. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think it is a wise thing in a relationship to pray about the people we relate with.
Yeah.
Yep.
And now, what if on the flip side of that story, what if now a partner confesses to you that you're actually making this relationship toxic?
Well, if the person cares, or using the right word, if the person legitimately loves you, they will put that into thought. They will ask, what is this that I've been told? And work on it. So if that person considers you, if that person loves you, if that person esteems you, if that person respects you, then wisdom of that moment will demand that they give attention to what you are telling them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting. Now let's look at this person who probably has gone through that, and in one way or another, probably they decided now to end that relationship. And now this person is wondering, will I be able to ever trust again? Will I be able to ever love again? Will I be able to ever be in a relationship and enjoy without necessarily having to bring what happened or stepping into it with fear from the previous relationship because of that, of whatever happened? How can such a person just be able to say start all over again?
Well, I think before we get to that, Tabby, the most important thing is first to discover what was the area of toxicity. Like we only talk about 3 things, but I think it is important at this point for me to mention some few other things before now we come to the healing process. I think I talk about manipulation, which is a huge signal of a toxic relationship. Just to make up what I said is, there's a lot of control. We know people want to control what you say, who you talk to, when you talk to them. And when it becomes extreme, it becomes a hostage situation that the person protects you from speaking to other people. So you become a prison in that relationship. There is no freedom. You are afraid, like you cannot even register dissent. If you are talking about something and you disagree, you cannot. So what happens is that you become internally conflicted, and that internal conflict is very, very hazardous. It's pathological. It will affect you adversely, and that's why now we talk about issues of mental health and stuff, because people get disturbed. The other point is abuse. And that's a very strong point on a strong sign of a toxic relationship: abuse. It could be verbal abuse, it could be physical abuse. And if in a relationship when people and someone is hitting you, slapping you, this happens when people are drunk most of the times, according to my experience. Most of the abuse happens when people are drunk. And so something happens in the club or in the house, and a fight broke out when people shout at you. Abuse is actually a huge red flag. And this is something that should cause you to stop right there and give it a thought. Abuse is actually, in my opinion, abuse and manipulation are the strongest signals of a toxic relationship. And now we can also talk about, feeling bad all the time. As I said, a relationship should make you happy, satisfied, contented. But if you have your own doubts, you're not happy, you're always fighting, you're always firefighting, quenching fires here and there, that should be a sign that this relationship is toxic. The other one is numerous breakages. You're on and off. It can happen 1 or twice because relationships have many issues. And sometimes people demand a break. But now when it happens once, twice, thrice, no, that's a toxic relationship. And I think I remember one day somebody was talking to me about their relationship. It was a lady, and she was telling me they have been fighting over cheating many times because the man has been talking to many other different girls. They separate, then they come back, he apologizes, he brings chocolate and flowers, the girl accepts. Then I said, now this is a red flag you're ignoring, and it will really affect you in the future. Because when it happens numerously, it tells you it's a pattern, it's a thread that you need to give maximum attention to. It deserves a stop. You're not supposed to continue when you see these things. The other idea is it's a one-way traffic relationship. Like it's only one person who does everything. So that is quite unhealthy. Because it means one party is not giving their maximum or the demanded attention to that relationship. Then the other one is, nothing gets resolved. So you never get to a conclusion. So you say, okay, for the sake of this relationship, I'm giving up. I'm compromising. Compromising is okay because it's a very important component in a relationship. You compromise for the sake of the other. But now when it takes these particular dimensions, it becomes a red flag. So nothing gets resolved. So you're always compromising. Not getting to the bottom of the matter. You're not addressing the underlying issues. You're only addressing the symptoms, the problems, and you never go to the root of the matter. So I thought it was important for me to talk about those others so that people can understand about signs of a toxic relationship. And now coming to your question about healing and how a person should treat that. Was that the question? How a person now can love, can learn to trust and love again and be in a relationship and enjoy having gone through such. I think before I answer that, let's talk about how do people deal with the consequences of toxic relationships. Because not many people know how to handle relationship of that kind. And most of the time, more often than not, people leave those relationship hurt, sick, feeling betrayed, stressed. Why do they feel that way? Now, I don't want to blame people. We say you don't blame a victim for their victimization. But if they were to look back in retrospect into that relationship, they ignored very important signals, what we call the red flags, like the things I've just mentioned. And even so, they gave themselves into it so much that when it went the other way, it really hurt them. Because the reason why people are hurt is because they have given everything to it.
Themselves.
Yes. And I think I keep on saying, for people who are dating, and this is from a Christian perspective, don't behave like you are getting married this Saturday. I say that all the time. That should give you some wisdom. Because if you give yourself totally into it, and I'm saying this with a lot of care because for a relationship to thrive, there must be a sacrifice, giving yourself to it. But I'm saying there are some extents you're not supposed to go for the sake of your own safety. So it's very important to set boundaries, safe, realistic boundaries, allowed your relationship so that you don't go beyond them. Because when you go beyond them and something happens, the hurt becomes severe. And that's why people get hurt. They say they'll never get married. So I think it is important for me to mention that. And having said that, I would say three things for people who are coming out from toxic relationships. The first one is forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. It could be your mistake that you went all the way. You ignored the red flags. You went against your own values and principles. But you need to forgive yourself. We are human beings, we err. So what you need to do is to dust yourself and become better. Take it as a life lesson. But when you get stuck there, you become conflicted there, then it will affect you in a very bad way. So the first thing is forgive yourself. It is very, very important. When you discover, self-forgiveness is when you discover you made a mistake, you dated the wrong person, you're in a wrong relationship, you made wrong choices, then you say, yes, I have done that, but this should not be a block to my future.
True.
It should be a lesson for my future. And when you see it as such, it opens a lot of obstacles on your way. So forgive yourself. Number two is cut connections and links.
Very important.
Now, I will tell you for free, most people the victims of toxic relationships are victims because they loved that other person.
True.
That is the truth. So that even when they leave them, they still think a part of them is connected to the other person. And that is dangerous. When you're coming out of a toxic relationship, it means you need to disconnect yourself totally from that person. De-link yourself completely. I've seen people even to change their phone numbers I've had people who have changed residences. Like I know one person had to move into with their auntie.
Wow.
So that this person will not reach them.
Yeah.
So it is very important. The link, delete messages.
Yeah.
Now you still find people going back to the chat, to the thread, looking at what they were saying.
Yeah.
You know, that can, you know, it cannot facilitate healing at all. You know, I've had people who have burnt gifts just to make sure they, you know, you are given a gift, you put it in your place. And every time you see it, it revives some hard feelings.
Yeah.
You know, it reminds you of that person. Or it ignites, you know, some good feelings about that person, though they were toxic to you.
Yeah.
You know, and you start thinking of giving them another chance. And you are not in an appropriate emotional state for you to make such a decision, like to go back to that person, having come out from a toxic relationship. It does not end well. It does not end well. It does not end. And I like giving these examples so that people who are watching can pick up their lessons. One day we rescued a certain lady from an abusive relationship. Rescue in the literal sense of the word. Because
rescuing.
Yes. Yes. You know, the girl was locked in some apartment. You know, she was not permitted to call someone. Thankfully, she was able to whisper to a guard. You know, and like a real hostage situation, and she was totally helpless.
Wow.
Now, when we took her out, we sternly warned her, don't go to that relationship. Don't go back to it.
Yeah.
It is not good. And she said, I will not. Then after a while, we heard that the lady went back to the man. Now we didn't know what to tell the young lady. Unfortunately, now she was battered brutally by the young man and admitted to hospital for a couple of weeks. And it didn't have to go that much, you know, to that extent. And there's a verse in the Bible that says, you know, I'm manipulating that text for this purpose. You know, if these things happened when the tree was green, what will happen when the tree dries up? You know, so if these things are happening before you get married, what will happen when you get married? And the problem is, Tabby, many people ignore red flags. And I think to me, I'll say that. That's the bottom line. Many young people in relationship, they ignore the red flags. They ignore.
Just
lies, for instance. I think I could have even added to that list I'd given earlier. If a person is a pathological liar, they are lying you even on voluntary basis. And they don't have to lie. But they are, you know, they volunteer lies. You know, so... you know, or a person, you know, they don't have to lie where they are. Like where you say you are in this particular place when you are not. Yeah, just because you don't want to offend the other person. But the truth is, they will know you are lying to them because you take longer. Yeah. You know, so if you realize a person is always lying to you, even when they are not supposed to lie, or even lying to other people. Like you are with them, spending time, somebody calls, you know, and you think they are doing that for you, they are giving a lie, they are saying they're in this and that place, very busy, because there's a way you can, you know, close up information without telling the truth, or without, you know, going the whole mile. Yeah. Like if somebody calls me and I don't have a good answer, or I better not respond. Yeah. To their call than lie to them. Yeah. So if you discover a person is lying to you, lying, you know, don't say they are doing that for you so that they spend time with you. Your time will come. And your time will come. So that's a red flag. So every time you ignore a red flag, every person has a situation, has a character, you know, has a character issue, you know, an area you need to work on. But there are areas where you give much attention to. You need to give further attention to. And if you ignore that, sooner than later it will catch up with you. Yeah, so these things don't just come. They don't just appear. Yeah. They show themselves in different shapes and ways. And if you're not able to pick them and become wise, they will catch up with you later. So that's why I say all the times, if you see a red flag, and so I give it back to you. Why do we say red flags? For those of us who watch football, there are people we call linesmen. Yeah. Linesmen are people who help the referee to see what is happening in the game, because the referee may not be able to see everything that is happening. And if they notice something that requires the attention of the referee, they raise up the red flag. It could be a hard ball, it could be a foul play, it could be an offside. So what they do, they lift up the red flag. That means the referee should stop the game and address that issue. And nowadays in the technology, they have what they call VAR. So that the referee can have a chance to go and see it for himself, what happened, and make a decision before moving on. But the problem is, we never have VAR in relationships. We don't want to review what happened. There is a red flag, you ignore it, there you go. You're in a problem.
It catches up with you later. Quite profound, quite very profound. And thank you for that. And just I'm thinking we are talking for to these people who are actually preparing for marriage.
Yes.
Whether you're dating, whether you're in a relationship, or you are single, you're not yet dating, but you desire to one day head there. And I would want us just to, talk to these people and how can such a person prepare to get into relationship and ensure they are not toxic in that relationship, ensure they do not bring all of these things, and also just giving hope to the people who feel like, hey, where am I going in regard to all of this? Just speaking to the people who are looking forward towards that, what would you tell them?
Okay, I think I would say to them first, as a pastor, I would say it's very important to pray first and foremost to your potential partners. Pray for them, whether you know them or not. Pray for them. That means if you don't have one at this moment, pray for them without anonymously. As it were, pray for them. If you know them and you're in a relationship, pray for them. The next thing is, I go back to that point, which I think is a profound point. For you to find the right person, be the right person. See, I want to get in a relationship. Now, how should I get into this relationship? Before I give out my expectation to whoever, I have to work on some issues. I want to be the right person. I want to be the right person. And then the other thing I would say is a repeat of what I previously said. Is tread carefully when you are dealing with relationships. And relationship to me is not about feeling. It's about knowing. Now, the illustration I give in this regard, I see a relationship like a sea. Now, when you get to the shores, you're talking about what you can see. Tall, dark, and handsome. But when you start dealing with serious issues, now you are getting into the deep where it matters. That means a true relationship is not just about what you feel. It is all about what you know. What do I know? Seek to know. Now, when you feel, you carry your brain and you leave you carry your heart rather, and you leave your brain behind. But when you know, you carry your heart and your brain. So you're not just feeling, you're also knowing. You're also knowing. So seek to know. And of course, this brings about the question of issues to do with online dating. How long should people date? I think it is a big plus if you get to know the person you are relating with, because it is through knowledge that you're able to know what kind of a person they are, and you're able to make a decision, because they may not change what they are when you are relating. So it is very important for you to know. When you get excited about love, when you say, when you are carried in the wings of love, it's a good thing, it's a nice feeling, but that should not overwhelm your logical approach to a relationship.
Yeah.
You should be very logical and very reasonable. And that defeats philosophies like love is blind. There is nothing like that. You can't say love is blind. That's why you can't marry a mad person.
True.
Although I don't like using that word. You can't, because it's not blind.
Yeah.
Yes, it is not. It is not.
Yeah.
It's only a blind when it comes to money, as they say. But the truth is, love is not blind.
Oh, it's money.
Yes. And if that is the philosophy you build your relationship on, you will cry one day, because there are things that requires you to see.
Very true. Very, very
So if you allow love, quote unquote, to blind you, then you'll get yourself into a deep ditch that will really hurt you. And that will not be very good. So knowing. And now that takes me to another point. Don't be in a relationship that is not meaningful.
For the sake of
For the sake of it.
Or having a good picture.
Yes. You know, it's not a PR exercise.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's why you should even ask yourself every time if you are relating, where is this relationship heading? And girls of our age, they used to ask us those questions a lot. Where is this taking us? And that's it's a question of significance. It's a serious question.
Yeah.
Because the question is suggesting that this is a meaningful relationship. It's not a random relationship. We are not just spending time together to waste. At this, at the age of most of our youth members, I don't think it is right for them to enter into random relationship. It should be a meaningful relationship. So if it is a meaningful relationship, then it requires a meaningful approach. If it is a random relationship, the opposite is true, the approach is true. It will be a random approach.
Yeah.
Yes, and it becomes worse when one party is serious and the other one is not serious. It becomes it's tragic situation. It's horrible.
Yeah.
So make sure you only get involved in meaningful relationships.
True.
Yes, and as I said, mark your boundaries right. Mark
your boundaries
right.
Yes.
Because if you go beyond your boundaries, and it happens you come back, that path of coming back is rocky and thorny. It will hurt you really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I think that is so profound, and I know we can never finish talking about this, because it just opens to other things. And we are wishing we are coming up to Valentine's Day in 3 days' time, and we are wishing you a good Valentine's Day. But even as you enjoy time with your loved ones, and especially for those who are in relationships, it's high time that you take all the truth and the things that we've been told about. Just think about it. Don't just be carried by your feelings, but seek to know. Just seek to know what is happening and what is going on in your life and in your relationship. So we are coming to a close to this, and love you to just give us a parting shot. Yes, as we come to an end.
Thank you, Tabby. I think what I want to tell dear people is that love is possible. Meaningful relationships are possible. Don't go for less. Don't go for less. You don't deserve it. Go for a meaningful relationship. Love is possible. And may the Lord of love help you to do it right and to make right decisions, and to the glory of God and to your own happiness and joy.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Pastor Apollo, and thank you for encouraging us in that sector, and also just shedding the light. We really appreciate. So thank you so much. We wish you the very best. Enjoy your Valentine's Day. Do what you want to do. Be you. Do you in singular and in whatever number you want to have, maybe family or friends, or just your loved ones. And may the Lord bless you and keep you. Amen.